New leftists move to prevent the elderly from voting. For many years, liberals have decried voter ID laws, insisting that the disenfranchised minority voters, particularly those who are poor or elderly. Yet while they shout from one side of their mouths that everyone, including non-citizens, should be allowed to vote in our elections, which is totally dumb if you ask me, just because that's like me going to another country and voting. Like, that doesn't make sense. But then out of the other side of their mouths, they're grumbling about how the elderly no longer deserve the right to vote since they don't vote progressive enough. So if you don't vote the way they want you to vote, then you shouldn't be able to vote. Like, what's the point of voting then? The topic was raised in July by Canadian outlet Maclean's, which author Daniel Munro considered various arguments as to why the elderly should have their voting rights revoked at some point, such as around 70 years old. Now, of course, they're from Canada, so they're insanely liberal, and yeah, around 70 years old. So basically, what you can, work your whole life and then finally retire, and then your rights are taken away. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Like, what kind of assholes are these? And here's some quotes from him, which will make you enraged. The idea is that once a citizen reaches a certain age, they will be less concerned with our social, political, and economical future than the younger generations, and much less likely to bear the long-term consequences of political decisions and policies, Munro wrote. In that case, their votes ought to be discounted or eliminated altogether to ensure that the future is shaped by those who have a real stake in how it turns out. These people, this guy's insane, okay? And this is how a lot of liberals think, which is terrifying if you really think about it, because it's like, people live till their 90s, like even 100 sometimes, It's like, so you're telling me for 20 or 30 years they shouldn't have a voice? Like, that's just insanity. Like, especially when it comes to healthcare and stuff, they're the ones, they'll be directly affected immediately. Like, they won't even have to worry about long-term consequences. It'll be short-term for them. Like, so ridiculous. Yeah, and then, of course, Monroe cited polls showing older citizens, blah, 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 like anything they can say to make people, it's totally, totally ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's in Canada, so I'm sure this crap is going to come down here, and they're going to start trying to take people's rights away. But I thought I would just share this with you, so I don't know. Let me know what you think.